An intergalactic nuclear war is taking place, and the captain of this ship has had his chat history leaked, so the entire galaxy has come to cancel him. Though he isn't fazed by the literal billions of enemies coming for his head, and rather he pulls out a drill-shaped ornament and swears to ingrain in each and every one of them that he is indeed that guy. But while he deals with his own problems, there are others who are more down to earth, or rather, in the earth. This guy, for example, who is ignoring the #1 rule in Minecraft. Don't dig straight down, and he doesn't even have a water bucket either. His life is pretty simple. His job is to dig, and if the chief is happy with his work, then he gets to have steak for dinner. He digs and digs and digs, and I think you get the point. We know that he digs, but his reason for doing so is to find treasure buried in the ground, and today, he just so happens to finally find some. He found one of those drill-shaped ornaments, so he drops everything he was doing and exits the mines with his new bling. But as soon as he leaves, he gets his whole essence roasted completely unprovoked. The girls call them smelly, broke, and dreepless, proving that in any world, teenage girls are going to be mean as hell. Simon walks away with his head to the ground and his pride in shambles, but bumps into Kamina, who tries to cheer him up a bit by telling him not to worry. What matters most are the bros, and right now, the bros are hatching a plot to break through to the surface. Before Simon knows what is happening, they are all riding on boars and headed for the roof of the cave they are in. And I guess physics left the chat for a bit, because the boars start climbing up towards the ceiling, but the chief is there to stop them before they can break through. The chief scolds them and tells Kamina to give up on his stupid dreams of the surface. There are two truths: the earth is flat, and there is no such thing as the surface or sky, so there is no point in trying to find it. However, Kamina is sure that the sky exists because he has personally seen it. The chief doesn't want to hear it and threatens to let them all starve if they don't give it up, and upon hearing this, the other three immediately snitch on Kamina. Not cool, guys. Simon isn't going to rat out Kamina, but an earthquake suddenly hits, forcing everyone to run for cover, while Kamina is still standing unafraid. Simon tries to get him to seek cover as well because he has PTSD involving earthquakes, but Kamina calms him down, telling him the earthquake will soon end. The earthquake ends and Kamina tells everyone that the surface is real, and that ceiling will one day collapse, killing them all. The chief still doesn't want to hear it and decides to throw Kamina in jail. Earthquakes are a fairly common occurrence. In fact, Simon's parents were caught in an earthquake and died when he was only 7. As he is breaking the Minecraft rules once more, he thinks about how the ceiling will eventually collapse one day, and there isn't anything he can do to stop that, but then he comes across more treasure. He goes to Kamina's cell to bring him to see what he found. And Kamina, the mad lad, just casually breaks out of his rope to follow him. Simon says he found a giant head underground, but before he can show Kamina, the chief spots them. The chief is trying to beat up Kamina, but him, still being a mad lad, takes all the shots with no pain or damage. Then before he can swing again, another earthquake hits and the ceiling collapses. A giant monster falls through the roof, revealing the sky, but also scaring the chief out of his mind. He clearly isn't going to do anything about it, so Kamina takes the role of the protector of the village and challenges the monster. Then, a girl falls from the sky and starts blasting the monster. Kamina thinks she's a surface person, so he tries to get close to her, but she is actually from an underground village right next to this one. Simon takes them to the head he found earlier, which the girl thinks must be a gunman. The same as that big fella out there. They get to the head and Simon is able to get inside it, so it is definitely different. His drill bling begins to react to it, leading them to believe they can use it to fight the monster, so they launch out of the cave while riding it. However, Simon has still got no idea how to run this thing, so it's not much help at first. The group lands on the monster's head and are about to be crushed, but they manage to get out of the way, causing the monster to bash his own head in. Simon is able to activate a drill function that the mech possesses and drill the monster upwards all the way to the surface, finally defeating the monster. The girl finally introduces herself as Yoko and is happy to meet them, but she suddenly realizes that they are no longer going up. They fall out of the sky, but don't worry, Simon landed on Yoko's soft airbags, and she doesn't seem to mind either. But something she does mind are the two gunmen in front of them. With no other choice, Kamina steps out of the mech and draws his sword to attack the gunman. But Simon knows that there isn't much that Kamina is going to do against that thing, so he grabs him with the robot and nopes the heck out of there. While running away, we see Yoko take aim at the gunman in a very plotful angle, but the turbulence causes her to have to reposition herself and take aim in another very plot-intensive position. While she's firing, Simon is cowering in fear from all the action he's going through when an hour ago, he was just playing Minecraft. The robot loses power, and they fall to the ground. But before they can be crushed to death by that thing, Yoko's friends come to their rescue and rain heavy gunfire upon it, causing it to break down and a little dude to pop out. Those things are called beastmen, and they are what control the gunmen, so as one of their gunmen has been destroyed, the other decides to make a retreat. With all the commotion done, the three rest after a long battle. They look up at the sky and Yoko informs them of the moon and the stars since they've never heard of them. This flamboyant guy, Ron, then comes up to them and says that there might have been people living on the moon long ago, but remains a mystery. One mystery that Ron does want to reveal though is what those hands do, but Kamina isn't looking to find out anytime soon. While those two are at it, Yoko asks Simon if he helped her carry the destroyed gunman back to their base. And while he couldn't move the Mecha a moment ago, one look at her, and something definitely rises. The Mech appears to respond to the emotions of the user. Along the way, Yoko's friends apologize because it is kind of their fault that Simon's village got damaged to such an extent, and now he is even helping them carry their stuff. Along the way, they come across a skeleton in the road and decide to give it a proper burial, but Kamina believes the dead dude was stupid for dying in such an uncool place. They continue to their village, Littner, which was damaged a while ago, so they couldn't hide from the gunman anymore and had to fight. They get to the village and Simon and Kamina immediately pass out from exhaustion. The next morning, an earthquake hits and they run out to see what's going on, but everyone is pretty calm about it. It's just another gunman coming to attack, so they all get ready for battle and Kamina tells Simon to get into the mech. Simon tries to power it up, however, it doesn't work at all. But as another earthquake hits due to a gunman's landing, he realizes something. All the earthquakes are the fault of the gunman, so those frickers are the reason his parents died, and that is all the motivation he needs to get his kill streak going. Outside, the gunmen are wreaking havoc in the canyon, and Kamina is just standing there watching and thinks, "Next ride you've got there, I'm gonna jack that gunman for myself." But how he plans to do that, neither I nor Yoko have a clue. Simon comes out ready to crack some heads open. Kamina tells him to calm down a bit and explains that he's gonna go jack that gunman. He manages to get on top of it, but he can really think about how he would be getting into the thing. But Simon is able to come to his aid and pry the mouth open. Kamina then kicks the beastman out GTA style and gets into the gunman, but he isn't able to move it at all. And the other gunmen start knocking him around where he sees that skeleton again. The thought that he is going to die an uncool death shakes him up so bad that he goes through the entire color spectrum, but once he finally snaps out of it, he is able to pilot the gunman and knocks the other two around as payback. He then throws Simon at them so that he can finish them off, but he appears to miss his shot. However, Simon turns around and launches himself back to get that double kill streak. Later that night, they all go to rebury that skeleton again, but Kamina notices that the skeleton is wearing the same bracelet that his father was wearing when he left to the surface. And after uncovering the body fully, he sees that it is indeed his father's corpse. That's a lot of trauma to pile onto a guy at once, but this world doesn't have therapy, so he deals with it the same way most people do, by ignoring it and pretending it never happened. The next day, Ron combined all the destroyed gunmen into one for Kamina to pilot, and Yoko wants to go hunting while the beastmen are not attacking, so she asks for a lift to the hunting spot and Simon is going to be third wheeling. In the whole village, Yoko is the best marksman, and she offers to let Kamina try shooting a few times. He lands his shot and goes to retrieve his prize, but when he gets there, he sees that there are 2 arrows stuck in the animal. He is then attacked by a guy who is from the Human Eradication Corps, and he plans to kill Kamina here. Kamina may be good at fighting, but this guy is a trained fighter, so he doesn't stand much chance of winning. Luckily, Simon comes in to save him just in time, and they head back to get Kamina's gunman, which he has named Gurin. The attacker also gets in his own gunman, and the two face off, but once again, the guy is much more skilled than Kamina. The two get bodied by the attacker, and he is about to finish them off with a laser attack, but they manage to escape in time. And since the stun is going down, the attacker decides to come back tomorrow. That night, they have to prepare for the fight the next morning, and Yoko thinks she should use Simon's mech, which is called Login, by the way. He isn't suited to fighting, and she has way more combat experience than he does, but Kamina is still sure that Simon will be able to pull it off. Yoko asks why he has so much faith in him, and it is really simple. He was the only bro that didn't sell him out back then, and a bro who keeps the bro code is a bro for life bro. The morning rolls around and everyone is prepared to make their final stand, but Simon has still got cold feet about all this. The Beastman arrives, and despite his best effort, Kamina is still getting his ass beat. Yet he keeps getting up again and again to protect everyone, and upon seeing his bro risk his life, Simon regains the will to fight. Kamina is about to get laser again, but this time Simon manages to deflect it in time. Now that the two are fighting together, Kamina thinks it's time to do their ultimate move and combine their mechs. So he shoves Simon's robot into his own, and to everyone's shock, it actually combines. Mind you, he made that shit up on the spot and had no proof that it would work. With the new power-up, they are now able to counter the attacker and even able to steal some of his drip. The attacker doesn't understand how they became so powerful after attaching a smaller gunman to the big one, but he gets desperate and launches a bunch of missiles at them to escape. They have won the battle for today, and that evening, Ron finds some data on the Beastmen's base camp, so they decide it is time to go and attack them and head out. On their journey, they end up traveling in the desert for a long time, and as such, Kamina decides to give Simon some very special training involving throwing rocks at Simon. All the while, they are being watched by some hooded figures on the mountaintops. This has been going on for so long that Simon is incredibly hungry, but Kamina doesn't want to let him quit over something as silly as starving to death. However, Kamina is also quite hungry after all that rock chucking, but his thoughts are soon interrupted by a series of cannonballs shot at him. This is the work of the hooded people who have come to save Simon from what looked like an attack from a gunman. And it looks like Simon is finally getting some attention from girls. Kamina crawls out of Gurren and tells the guy for shooting him down. He is definitely human, but as far as they know, the gunman can only be piloted by beastmen. Kamina introduces himself as the gunman slaying hero of the Giga village and immediately steals all of the bitches. Not cool, bro. The girls are Kido, Kinan, and Kial, and their elder brother, Kid-an. Since the guys are starving, they head off with Yoko to go find some food and end up coming across some fuzzballs. But as Simon takes a bite, the food gets up and runs away. Those were actually beastmen that were taking a nap, and they plan to attack the group now that they are awake. Kamina runs towards Gurren, but gets chased by the gunman trying to stop him. But thanks to some help from the siblings, he is able to make it to Gurren. He still isn't going to be much of a match for them, unless he combines with Simon, but he would rather die than do it without a transformation cutscene, so he keeps flinging Simon off. Simon tries to combine again, but keeps failing the quick time event, so Kamina isn't letting it happen. Kamina is being really stubborn about that cutscene, but luckily, Simon finally hits the right inputs to trigger the transformation. And with the power of Gurren Lagann, they are able to defeat the fuzzballs. After that, they say their goodbyes to the siblings and continue on their journey to the Beastmen headquarters. As they continue, due to an argument between Kamina and Yoko, they all accidentally fall into a hole in the ground and come across a village that worships gunmen as gods. And seeing as they worship gunmen, they immediately think that the group must be angels from heaven since they came out of gunmen. They are greeted by Roshu upon arrival, and he gives them a place to sit so he can talk to them. But first he asks Yoko to cover herself up since they do not permit such thottery here. She puts on the cloak, which Kamina lifts up immediately after, and despite already wearing the bikini everywhere, she still gets embarrassed about it. Roshu soon gets news that one of the women in the village gave birth, but she gave birth to triplets, which is apparently a problem since it just raised the village's population to 52. Roshu later introduces them to the village priest, but Kamina doesn't like him at all. The priest doesn't respond to Kamina's provocation and just tells them to go to sleep. The next day, the priest holds a ceremony where everyone draws sticks, and the people who get the red sticks are supposedly chosen by God to be sent to heaven, aka the surface. And it just so happens that the two people chosen are the only orphans in the village. Coincidence? I think not. The priest asks the group to take the orphans up to the surface, but Yoko says it is too dangerous to do that. And as if to prove her point, a gunman falls from the sky to attack. Simon and Kamina run to Gurren Lagann to hit that quick time event and transform to fight it. They are engaged in battle when the gunman that the village worships starts moving and attacks the other one. It pushes the other gunman down a deep hole and is revealed that the priest was piloting it. The priest knew all along that the gunmen weren't gods, and though he lied to the people, he did it for their own good. The village does not have enough resources to support a large population, so he made sure that the population of the village would never exceed 50. He also arranged for the orphans to be sent because they have no family that would grieve them. It may seem cruel, but it is what must be done to survive. The priest hands Roshu a book which he wants him to keep, though neither know what the book is about since they can't read. Though he doesn't hate the priest for what he did, Roshu knows the truth now, so he decides to leave the village with the orphans. As they continue on their journey, they discover that the Beastman's base is actually moving, but soon after, more gunmen arrive to attack them. However, this time they are able to make light work of them, and as one is trying to escape, but they think it would be a good idea to follow it and find its base. They follow it for a while, but end up losing it in the dense fog. They come across an old man in the middle of the fog, and he leads them to a large building. Roshu thinks it is pretty suspicious, but the others don't think about it too much. They get inside, and there are a bunch of bunny girls there to greet them and a feast laid out for them. As they eat, the sisters suddenly arrive and are all over Kamina again, but their brother had something he wanted to do on his own, so he isn't here. The hostess comes over and tells them that when they are done eating, they can go for a dip in the hot springs, but Kamina doesn't know what a hot spring is. Ron gives him a very suggestive explanation to what it is, But Kamina is soon disappointed when he finds out that the girls and boys are separated. With nothing else to do, he talks about his plans to go to the moon and what they've done so far, but then they realize something. It's too quiet on the other side. The girls aren't in the hot spring and the entire bathhouse begins to move, revealing that it was a whole ploy by the hostess who is actually a beastman. And she is nocturnal, so she can operate at night contrary to their normal behavior. Kamina and Simon make a run for their mexes, but Kamina's has already been stolen, so he's going to go into the bathhouse gunman and destroy it from the inside. Kamina and the girls are inside the gunman and have finished desecrating the engine room, and Simon bursts in to get them all out of there. The girls worry that they would be too heavy to allow Lagan to make it out. But with all the girls in bikinis squished up against Simon, there is no way it isn't going to rise to the occasion. They make it out of the bathhouse gunman and combine with Guren to finally finish it off. However, they are soon attacked again. Viral is back and he wants his drip back, so he wants to fight Guren Lagan again. But his landing left everyone but naked, so he lets them get dressed first. The reason he didn't just squash them right there was because he wouldn't get much praise for beating up a bunch of naked humans back at the capital. The fight starts and it looks like Guren Lagan is about to win the fight, but Viral calls in an airstrike from the capital, which is also a humongous gunman with actual guns on it too. Though despite seeing a whole ass battleship in front of him and having had the mech's leg damaged, he still isn't ready to back down against it, even with the others telling him to retreat. And with the power of Kamina's willpower and delusion, the leg was somehow repaired, allowing them to attack again. So they end up landing on the deck with a flaming kick and taking out Viral. While the others are watching, 3 gunmen are launched at them, and unfortunately, they do not have enough ammunition to take them out. But as the straits grew ever more dire, a gunman fell from the sky and took out all 3 of them. Meanwhile, Kamina and Simon are squaring up against the battleship piloted by Thinmilf, and while Simon wants to retreat, Kamina thinks they can take it out. But, I mean, it is still a battleship, you know. They are about to be torn apart by Thinmilf, but are saved before they lost their legs by another person in a gunman. After they saw Kamina jack the gunman from the Beastman, they all started doing the same thing, and now have their own fleet of gunmen. But be that as it may, they still can't beat a battleship, so Yoko tries to get Kamina back down for now so that he can live to fight another day. Simon also asks him to retreat for now, but Kamina finally uses his brain for once and says they can't retreat because that thing has the guns to shoot them down from a distance, so they at least need to stop it before they can run. Simon comes up with a plan and runs to the edge of a cliff, tricking Thinmilf into following him and falling down into a hole. Thinmilf has been stopped for now, but he will definitely be back tomorrow, so Kamina and the gunman jacking squad make a plan to jack his battleship. But before the battle begins, Yoko is really worried about Kamina's tendency to endanger himself, so she goes to meet him. He tells her that during the fight tomorrow, she should watch his back for him, but while his back is still turned, she pulls him in for a kiss. This is how she feels about him, and Kamina feels the same way, so he promises to repay her 10 times over when they return from battle. And I'll be damned if that isn't a death flag right there. Simon was watching the whole thing and runs off trying to cope with the fact that Kamina is a certified ladies magnet. They head out to battle and Simon's emotions are all over the place. They put their plan into action and launch the attack to draw out the enemy forces. While they are distracted, Simon uses Lagan to take over the battleship, but with how messed up his state of mind is, he is unable to fully take control of it. Kamina notices that something is wrong, so he makes a mad dash towards Simon and punches him in the face. He doesn't know why he is upset, but he wants Simon to know that it will always be bras before hoes and nothing is going to change that. Simon is now able to clear his mind and fully take control of the battleship. But as Kamina returns to Guren, he is hit with a blast from Thinmilf's normal gunman and speared through the abdomen, killing him. Simon goes berserk after seeing Kamina die and is content with just killing everyone on the battlefield, so he starts destroying everything. But Kamina is still clinging to life and snaps Simon out of it. They combine one last time to take down Thinmilf, using a special drill finishing move, but Kamina doesn't survive long with the hole in his chest. The Spiral King receives word that Thinmilf has died and got his battleship jacked, so he sends Adiana to go retrieve the battleship from the humans. Meanwhile, on the humans' end, Simon has gotten a lot more violent and intense after losing Kamina, and maybe a little crazy as well. It has been a week since Kamina died, and they acquired the battleship, which they have named Guren. The ship is equipped with everything from good living quarters to repair stations that allow them to fix gunmen quickly. But one it can't fix is a broken heart. And Simon's heart has received so much damage that even flex tape isn't going to fix that. But he's not the only one who has a broken heart, as Yoko is also destroyed by the loss of Kamina. They get attacked again and Simon wants to go out alone to fight, but Roshiu says he will go out with him. On the battlefield, Simon is going on a rampage and destroying gunmen left and right, but he is going a little overboard and the energy he is outputting backs up, forcing him to lose control and jump down a cliff. He wakes up at the bottom of the cliff, dazed and confused, and wonders what could have caused him to lose control like that. He stumbles across a box that has the same kind of keyhole that his drill key uses, so he uses it to open the box. And within it, he finds a girl. She seems amazed to finally be able to see the world and also amazed to see another person that looks like her. She doesn't know what a human being is, so Simon tells her that there are more people like her, and if she wants, he can show her. She is very pleased to meet Simon, so she tells him that her name is Nia. She has one more question though, one is that giant bull that is about to squash them. Simon tells her to run and explains that thing is a gunman and will kill them if they don't defeat it. He tries to use Lagan to fight, but he is still unable to control it and ends up being knocked back. He tells her to just leave him there and run, but she convinces him that he should value his life a little more and escape with her. However, I don't think you're going to be able to outrun a missile. Luckily, the others arrive just in time to save them. They bring them back to the ship and start trying to figure out who the girl is, but they are suddenly attacked by Adiana. However, as the fight begins, Nia steps out and orders Adiana to stop as the daughter of the Spiral King. Adiana recognizes Nia as the daughter of the Spiral King, but she just intends to kill her and act as though nothing happened. However, she has her body cam turned on, so she can't just kill her like this, and because of that, she decides to return to base and ask for further instruction. But when she asks the Spiral King about what to do, he says Nia is dead to him. The team starts trying to interrogate Nia, but if they were trying to get info out of her, they're going to have a hard time cause her brain is as smooth as a marble. She was sheltered, so she never learned much about anything. She wasn't even aware that the Beastmen were killing humans up here. So when Adiana returns to attack again, she asks about it and Adiana goes on a tirade about how humans are trash that deserve to be killed, and also takes the moment to announce that Nia was officially disowned by the Spiral King. Simon sees the writing on the wall and figures out that Nia is about to get her life ended, so he tries to get into Lagan to save her, but Lagan still isn't responding. So the others have to handle the fight. Despite outnumbering her, their gunmen are inferior to hers, however, Dai-Guren is able to get the job done and knock her to the ground. She is about to be squashed by Dai-Guren, but Viral returns to aid her in battle and allow her to escape with her life. The battle was won and everyone now trusts that Nia is on their side, but Simon was completely useless during that whole fight and feels like an absolute failure. Another one of the generals is intrigued by Simon's gunmen and makes plans to investigate. Meanwhile, back at Dai-Guren base, everyone has given up on Simon and now shewn him as a loser, but Nia is still nice to him at least. He only makes statues of Kamina now, so he thinks she must think he is weird, but she actually listens to him talk about Kamina and stays by his side. Meanwhile, on the control deck, the team receives a distress signal from 3 girls who are calling for help since their village was attacked. But gotta think is clearly a trap, and for good reason too, since people in an underground village wouldn't be able to send a signal to a gunman. But Kidon's brain has already entered Uga mode, and me see cute girl, he goes save girl. They get to the village and rescue the girls, but no, it was a beastman trap. No one could have seen this coming. The humans are captured and locked away to be executed publicly later, and the general, Wamu, meets with Mia to give her an option to live. The Spiral King is immortal, so he has kids every once in a while as a pastime, and when he grows bored, he eats them off a cliff, like he did to Nia. But since she is too pretty to simply kill, Wamu gives her the chance to become the chief of this village he created full of human girls that will be sent to the Spiral King as his mistresses. She is disgusted by the idea and slaps Wamu. Meanwhile, the humans are freaking out about being locked up and have given up hope of escape. All except Simon, who is slowly but surely making progress to escape. Yoko recalls how Kamina once said that Simon is the only reason he made it that far, and he is always getting everyone out of trouble when it counts. Simon is finally able to believe in himself, which activates Lagan since he has regained his spirits. Simon breaks everyone out and digs into the control room to save Mia and escape. Meanwhile, Wamu has gotten into his gunman and plans to kill the rest of the humans here, while also live streaming it across the world in Ultra HD. Roshiu gets into Guren and tries to fight Wamu, but it is useless as Wamu is too powerful. However, Simon makes it back in time to combine with Guren and defeat Wamu with his special move. After the battle, Mia asks to be taken to the place where all the princesses before her were yeeted by the Spiral King. She wants to give them a proper burial and wonders why she is even alive, but Simon tells her not to question why she is here, but rather accept that she is alive and live life to the fullest, and he will do the same for himself. The group ends up at the sea, and you know what that means. Beach episode. But with Nia around, Yoko isn't receiving nearly as much attention as she used to, so she's getting a little jealous. Everyone starts playing volleyball, and Yoko thinks this might be her chance to one-up Nia since she is likely stronger than her. But that is where she is wrong. Nia may be cute, but she is also better at almost everything. It is now time to continue their journey and set sail, so everyone boards the ship and they hit the water. Everything is going smoothly until they get hit by dolphin torpedoes and Adiana returns for payback. They see the attack coming, but there's not much they can do since their gunmen are not waterproof. However, Gurren Lagann is able to do a lot weirder things, so water shouldn't be a problem for it. Simon and Roshiu go to face Adiana underwater, but while they may be waterproof, she has aqua affinity and can speed blitz them easily. But while he was fighting Adiana, her main ship had begun to pull Dai Gurren underwater. Simon is being held down, but he has to go save his friends, so by the power of his will, Gurren Lagann forms a drill that allows him to swim quickly underwater and rescue the ship. Adiana comes to the surface and, as a last-ditch effort, takes Nia hostage to force them to fight each other. However, Yoko just points her sniper at Nia. After all, you can't have a hostage situation if there's no hostage. However, the bullet wasn't aimed at Nia and hits Adiana in the shoulder, forcing her to release Nia and allowing the ship to blow her to pieces. Later, Nia asks Yoko to help fix her hair since her sniper kind of messed it up, but she had faith that Yoko wouldn't try to hit her on purpose, and Yoko realizes it was stupid to be jealous of Nia when she is so nice. Lately, Nia has been feeling like a freeloader on the ship since everyone else is working and she's just wandering around, so she decides to take up the task of the crew chef. Meanwhile, Ron and the others find that there is an airbase above them on the radar. They are being bombarded by one of the generals, and they unfortunately don't have anything that can fight against the airstrike. But they do have Simon's Gurren Lagann, so Heat and Yoko take it and are thrown up at the jets. They are able to destroy a few of them and integrate the parts into Gurren Lagann, now allowing them to fly. However, Viral has returned to restore his honor against Gurren Lagann and knocks Yoko out of the sky, forcing Simon to crash land to save her. They are now in the engine room of the airbase, and as Simon and Viral fight, they cause a lot of damage to it. Simon has gotten a lot better and has Viral on the ropes, but then Commander Saitamander appears and takes Yoko hostage to prevent Simon from fighting back. But Viral is going to be known as a coward forever if he kills Simon like this, so he stands down. Meanwhile, since Dai Gurren can't fly, they just run up a mountain and kick the airship. They knock out one of its levitation spheres and now have a means of flight. Saitamander retreats and everyone settles down after the fight, and Simon is really hungry now, so Mia offers to let him come eat what she's been chefing up in the kitchen. But the food is not FDA approved and may even need to be inspected by the poison department. However, Simon doesn't seem to mind. As Saitamander returns to the Spiral King, he asks that Viral be sent to the Gulag for not killing Simon when he had the chance. But before that, Viral has a question. Why are the humans so good at everything if they are meant to be inferior? The Spiral King finds him interesting and prepares to explain things to him that humans are the perfect ones, but he helps him become better. With all the losses that the Beastmen have been taking, Simon is sure that they will be launching an all-out assault now. They arrive at the Spiral King's palace a while ago, and this is already the 6th day of battle. Day breaks and the Beastmen of Saitamander attack again. The team has upped their game since last time, and they are now a full air fleet. Saitamander sends out his bombers, and in response, the humans send out their gunmen, which have been outfitted with flying spheres. And Gurren Lagann got a makeover with a new decal and all the bells and whistles. They engage Saitamander's troops, but while they are busy with that, Wamo approaches from the ground and begins bombarding Dai Gurren. The ship is taking a lot of damage, so Simon tells the others to head back and defend it while he handles Saitamander. Saitamander finds it amusing that Simon thinks he can handle them alone, but Simon can indeed handle them alone. However, it leaves him winded, and Roshiu now has to take over the flying to avoid the income attack. They are managing to dodge well enough, but then Saitamander launches 2 nukes at them, so they throw one back and cause a major explosion in the sky. However, he is now out of steam and is helpless against Saitamander. Luckily, he receives cover fire from the east, but has no idea who it is coming from. The reinforcement are several people from various villages who have learnt the art of gunman jacking and were inspired by Simon whooping Wamu's ass in full HD. With the reinforcements, they are able to crash into Saitamander and his ship, also causing it to fall into Wamu's gunman. However, Wamu actually survived that hit and is now doing some sort of tornado move. And the reinforcements may be good at gunman jacking, but the only award they'll be winning is the Darwin Award with how they are just flying into it and dying. Meanwhile, Simon drills his way under Wamu and uses his drill to reverse the spin of Wamu's tornado and destroy his gunman, killing him in the process. That takes care of the last of the 4 generals, but there is still the Spiral King and Teppelin to take care of. This entire thing will be over once they have successfully defeated him. The crew finds out on the radar that Teppelin is the same kind of gunman as Gurren Lagann, and Simon is completely unable to penetrate its hard shell, so he hits Fling's back. Gurren catches him, but they have to think of a new plan of attack. However, Nia asks to be taken up since she wishes to speak with her father one last time. Simon allows her to get in with him to make that happen. Since Simon couldn't break through the shell before, they use the full force of Gurren to blow through its exterior and reach the Spiral King. However, Gurren doesn't survive the impact. Simon makes it to the Spiral King's throne room, but Viral is still there wanting to face him. He says he has got a new body that doesn't require sleep and an improved gunman, but he is still catching nothing but L's. Then the Spiral King tells him, "Dumbass, sit the hell down and watch me work. You'll only get yourself thrashed." Before the Spiral King fights, Nia asks him why he is doing everything that he did, and the Spiral King finds it amusing. He is sure they must think they are the ones in the right, but he is the guardian of humanity, and the way things were before is the only way to ensure that humanity survives. He then gets in his own gunman that is the same kind as Lagann with the power of Spiral and proceeds to knock Simon around easily. Nothing Simon does seems to be effective, even his special move does no damage at all. The Spiral King pins them to the wall with spikes, but Simon has still got one more trick up his sleeve. He detaches Lagann and tries to use it to take over the Spiral King's gunman, but he catches on to their plan and blows his arm up. However, Simon isn't giving up on his plan, so he tries to launch another drill attack, and the Spiral King does the same. Simon wins the drill standoff, but then the Spiral King gets out of his gunman and starts boxing, and he is low-key outboxing a gunman. But as he thinks he is victorious and lets his guard down, Simon pulls out his drill bling and leaves a hole in the Spiral King. The Spiral King realizes that there is no coming back from this wound, so he leaves them with a warning. When the population grows too large, the moon will act and shit is gonna get real ugly real fast. But they can worry in what he said later, because for now they are going to celebrate their victory over the Spiral King.